guarantee and legal expenses cover is, in our opinion at least, a godsend for landlords and an absolute must-have, as it offers you the protection you need should things go wrong in your tenancy. However, is rent guarantee a replacement for a fully managed service, and do we even really need a fully managed service? For a sector that is supposedly unregulated, there actually have been over 200 individual law changes over the last few years to how tenancies are formed and conducted, which we as agents have had to keep on top of. Some of the changes are very minor, however others are very significant, and they will rely on you or your agent putting your tenancy together absolutely correctly from day one in order to ensure that you receive the full rights as a landlord. So one of the more obvious ones, for instance, is that you can't evict a tenant unless you have protected the tenancy deposit. This has to be done in a certain way and within a certain time frame. You also need to serve the government right to rent guide on your tenant too, and make sure that it is the latest edition. You can absolutely manage your own properties in the same way that you can pilot a jumbo jet. Both things take a lot of learning, knowledge, and a lot of practice. The right contacts and all the right systems, and you will be okay if you have them. If not, however, you can come crashing down. If you're also combining looking after your rentals with your day job and your family life, then the time and knowledge you need to commit, it can be a problem. There's been a real shift recently from the whole thing just being a loose set of guidelines to a stringent set of rules and procedures, which, if not followed, can do you some real harm financially, not to mention mentally. What does rent guarantee and legal expenses cover do? Well, simply, it covers you financially if your tenant stops paying and you have to evict the tenant because of this. The company providing the cover will replace the rent you've lost, and if eviction does become necessary, then the cost of doing that will also be covered. It means you don't need to shell out for services of notices or for solicitors or, if it gets that far, court costs and bailiffs. Here is an example for you. Both of these columns represent a 12-month tenancy where, in month 4, your tenant stops paying, yet remains in the property until they are legally evicted. This scenario robs you and your rental income. And you will also incur the legal cost of obtaining that eviction and getting your property back. On the left is what you will lose if you are not covered, compared to the much more comfortable situation you'll be in if you are covered. Once again, there are rules and caveats to rent guarantee. It's an insurance policy at the end of the day. So we do, once again, have to make sure that we do all the right things in order to keep the policy valid, including chasing the missing payments and keeping records before notifying the insurer. Now, surely rent guarantee is something you can organise yourself. There are indeed some rental guarantee policies offered directly to landlords. However, most of these are tied to your building insurance, and none of these policies do anything to keep your tenancy compliant. So straight away there, any infractions and your policy is invalid immediately. Managing your own property saves you paying management fees. However, before you make that decision, ask yourself the following questions. If you had to evict a tenant, would you know how to do it? Would you know how to create a compliant tenancy to enable you to evict if needed? Simply having the latest tenancy agreement isn't enough for this. Do you know how to legally protect a tenant's deposit? Do you know which safety certificates you need and when you need them? If your answer is no to any of these questions, then you might consider using a management agent. Look at it this way, you're still going to get 90% or thereabouts of your rental income. However, you have the comfort of remaining compliant, keeping within the law, getting none of the hassle, such as the maintenance queries, arrears chasing, inspections, and all of the administration headache. Your agent will also have the expertise, the contacts, the knowledge, and most importantly, the time and incentive to get it right. Much like the airline pilot, or the professional footballer, the bricklayer, or the joiner, it's our job to make things look easier.